Okay, so let's try to get another system here. So let's try another problem. The next problem is, let's see, let's say there's, so question two, let's say there's 15 children and adults. And they're going to a show. Okay. And let's see, adult tickets cost $12, and children ticket costs $9. And finally, the total cost is $165. Okay, so how are we going to write a system? Well, step one is identify your variables, your let statement. So some years I have you use X and Y, other years I have you use numbers. We can use, so for example, we can let A be adults, and we can let C be children, right? Children. And so I want to set up a system of equations. I want to set up a system. Hold on one second. Sorry, guys. I want to set up a system. So this is our first part. We have our let statement. The next thing, let's set up our system of equations. So as I said before, we have two unknowns. We need two variables. Well, the first thing is there's 15 people. So A plus C equals 15. I need another equation. Is there other pieces of information? The answer is yes. I was told that $165 of tickets were sold. I know that adult ticket was $12, and I know a children's ticket was $9, and that equals 165. Whoops, sorry. What we have here is a system, another system of equations. Let's try one more example. Okay. Let's try one more example. Next. The next example is you're a farmer and you only grow sunflowers and flax on your 280-acre farm. This year he wants to plant 80 more acres of sunflowers than flax. How many acres of each crop does the farmer need to plant? I'll post these online. So once again, we have sunflower and we have flax. Now, I'm going to call sunflower X, and I'm going to call flax Y. Always ask yourself, hey, what's the answer? I don't know. And so I don't know is, in math, is X or Y. So these are the numbers of acres. Now, the first thing, we were told that the farmer has 240 acres of land. So you say, fine, X plus Y equals 240. But I have two variables. I need another equation. I need some other relationship. So let's go back to the question and see what the farmer wants. Oh, he wants 80 more acres of sunflower than flax. So X is equal to 80 plus Y. 80 plus the flax is the sunflower. Well, we're going to figure out a way to solve this, and this is going to be a good setup. But, yeah. So the idea is identify your unknowns, let statements, create the equation. Now the question is, how are we going to find the answers? Now, obviously, you can go to Desmos and put these equations in, and you'll know that we have two lines here, and somewhere they meet, and that when their point is, that's the answer. But the question is, we want an algebraic solution. So, how are we going to use this? The algebraic solution is called substitution. Now, what you're going to do with substitution is one of the equations is either solved for one of the variables, or you're going to easily solve for one of the variables. and then you're going to plug that into the other equation. Let's take a look at the second one. So we have A plus C equals 15, and the second equation is 12A plus 9C equals 165. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is solve for A. So A is equal to 15 minus C. Because if it's positive on the left, it's negative on the right. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace, I'm going to stick 15 minus C in for A. I'm going to get my new equation, which is 12 times 15 minus C plus 9C equals 165. You'll notice this is one equation, one unknown. You can either use your GDC to solve this, or you can solve it by hand. Let me solve it by hand. So 15 times 12 is 180 minus 12C plus 9C equals 165. I have negative 3C equals negative 15. C equals 5. So there's 5 kids. That means there's 10 adults. And that's the idea. Let's look at the second, let's look at the question with flaxseed. Let's look at the question with the sunflower and the flax. So I'm going to say x equals 80 plus y, and my second equation was x plus y equals 240. So I'm going to substitute for x, can you see that? Yes, I'm going to substitute and I'm going to stick it in here. So my new equation is 80 plus y equals 240. And I solve for y. You can either use your GDC. You can either use your GDC or by hand. So I have 2y equals 160, y equals 80. So he's going to use 80 acres of flax, and therefore we know that x equals 80 plus 80, or 160. That's the idea of substitution. Here's another problem that I'm obviously going to post. Take a picture, take a picture. Good. So a music store offers piano lessons at a discount for customers buying new pianos. The cost for lessons and a one-time fee for materials are shown in the advertisement. What is the cost of each lesson and the one-time fee for materials? So we see 6 lessons is $600, and then 12 lessons is $480, and there's a one-time fee. So what are my so first step 1, what are my let statements? Well, let's x equal the cost of a lesson. And I'm going to let my y equal the one-time fee. So, let's say you sign up for 10 lessons. They got to pay the person to give lessons. They're like, you need to give us a fee, a one-time fee. So this is our let statements. Now let's construct some equations. Well, we know for 6 lessons, it's 300. So 6x plus y equals 300. And then what's the other equation? Once again, I have 2 unknowns. I better have 2 equations. Can everyone see the board? Shall I move it over? There we go. My second equation is, what do you think? Good. 12x plus y equals 480. What are we going to do? Well, I'm going to solve for one of these equations. So I'm going to look at my first equation and say, you know what? I can easily get y alone. So I'm going to rewrite this as y equals 300 minus 6x. And then I'm going to take this expression and stick it in the y. Or substitute in the y, and then I have my new equation, 12y plus 300 minus 6x equals 480. You can either choose to use your graphing calculator or you can solve by hand. I'm going to solve it by hand. So I have 12x minus 6x, which is 6x, plus 300 equals 480. I know from algebra I'm going to subtract 300 from both sides. So I have 6x equals 180, x equals 30. So I know that each lesson costs $30. The question is now, what is that one-time fee? And you say, okay, let me plug it back in. 6 times 30 plus y equals 300. 180 plus y equals 300. Y equals 120. You might say, is that the right answer? And I would say, yes, because it's true in the second one. And you'd say x equals 30, y equals 120, and we plug it into the second equation. 120 times 30 plus 120 is equal to 480. Nice. Nice. Therefore, this is the solution. I think that's it. So I'm going to give you some homework problems and let's see how you do with them.